Over the radio, we heard units calling for more rescues due to multiple patients with GSWs, gunshot wounds throughout their bodies. So I let my lieutenant know because I don't think he heard. I told him, and then I ran inside while they deloaded that patient, and I let the hospital staff know that we had a level 1 patient, but we had to leave because there was something critical going on through the city. Honestly, I just thought it was maybe a shooting outside in the parking lot, you know, not what it was. But from what it heard on the radio, it sounded like it was urgent. From what I remember, I was driving, so I was really focused on just getting there as quickly as possible. But my lieutenant was telling me that there's possibly 3 shooters. There was possibly a shooter at the Walmart, at the Sam's, and at the mall. They were just getting multiple reports. It wasn't very clear on what was exactly going on. My lieutenant he kind of calmed me down. He said, I was actually telling him earlier today, that it calmed me down a lot. He said, you got me and I got you and we're gonna do our job. It was very hectic. It was a lot of people running, civilians, firefighters, police officers. One thing I did notice is that there's a lot of cops without badges and stuff, without uniform, like undercover cops. So that kind of threw me off a little bit. But I knew they were there for protection. We never made into Walmart. They were actually advising us by the time we arrived that no one would make entry into Walmart. With level 1 traumas, it's best to just get them to the hospital as quickly as possible. So we're trained on just direct pressure on the wound and taking off as quickly as possible to the hospital. When we were taking the patient up, there was a situation with our ambulance, so our patient got switched. So we ended up handing off our male with a female, also with a GSW to the abdomen. She was just asking if she was gonna live. She was asking where her husband was. And I was just telling her that we would do our best to get her to the hospital. Honestly, that's pretty much all I remember, the conversation with her. I was just holding her hand, making sure she was okay. I just thought of my wife, making sure she was okay. I gave her a call. I let her know what was going on. She actually didn't believe what was going on. So I told her it's a very serious thing, just stay home. I'm not sure what's going on. Just call our families to make sure they're okay. To think about it while you're working, you don't think of stuff like that. But once you have a second to think, you start realizing that your family might be in there. You're in firefighter mode, so once you get a call, you're going, and you don't think of anything else but doing your job. But on the way back, that's when things realize that something could have been worse for us and for people in El Paso. At this time, we were bringing in about 8 or 9 patients with gunshot wounds, so you could just imagine the nursing staff, the doctors. I know we train for it, but it doesn't really hit home until it actually happens. My understanding was right, the male that I first treated, he passed away. And he was actually the husband to the female that we transported it. And from my knowledge, she did survive. I think we'll always be El Paso strong. I think the community of El Paso is a very strong and diverse community with cultures from all over. So I'm proud that El Paso did what it did, and I'm sad it happened, but I'm so happy that we saw civilians and just everybody come together and just be one for that event, and still be one. Everybody still carries El Paso strong, pretty close to them.